Okay, can you all see the screen okay?
Yes, thanks.
Yes, we're all good. Excellent. Now then, so the last worksheet is here. There we are. Here are the answers. This is what you should have on your worksheet. So the first, it was rests and note values and a couple of scales in there as well for you to practice. From now on in the worksheets following on from this, no matter what the subject of the week is, we are still going to have some sort of scale practice in the worksheet, because it's really important to memorize those and know those quite well. So the first one was a crotchet rest, which is the value of 1 beat. The next one was a semi-breve rest, which is the value of 4 beats held. The third one was a minim rest, which is the value of 2 beats. And the fourth one was a quaver rest, which is the value of half a beat, half a crotchet's worth. Well done if you didn't get these two mixed up. The minim rest and the semi-breve rest. Remember the semi-breve rest, 4 is a higher number than 2. 4 sits on top, 2 is on the bottom. The next one was to name the value of the notes. So it was all about this, the dot. Remember, the dot adds half of the value of the note that it's attached to. So the dotted minim, the minim is worth 2, therefore that makes the dot worth 1. So that would turn into a dotted minim, which is worth 3 beats. The next one is the dotted crotchet, which is going to come out as 1.5 beats because the crotchet is worth 1, which makes the dot worth half. And the quaver, oh, I got that wrong. Look at that. There we go. Should be 3/4. 3/4 of a beat. So quaver rest. What's going on there? Oh, I think I've copy-pasted it and I've forgotten to change it. That's what it is. Okay, so that is a dotted quaver. A dotted quaver, not a quaver rest. Ignore that. So a dotted quaver, yeah, which would make that 3/4 of a beat, because a quaver is worth half a beat, which would make the dot worth 1/4 of a beat. Put them together, you get 3/4 of a beat.
Andy, could you give an example of where that might be used?
Yes, usually what you'll see is a dotted quaver attached to a semi-quaver like this. That's usually what you'd see. That is usually where you'd see it. Sorry, that should be dotted. You might see that sometimes. You might be familiar with that type of rhythm. You might have seen that before. What that is a dotted quaver and a semi-quaver. Yeah, and that's usually how the dotted quaver would be used. You know, they're not that common. They're not that common. But they are something that you need to know about, because sometimes it's quite easy to get these like this as one sort of one beat cell there, to get them confused with triplets, which is something I'm not going to go into at the moment, but the rhythm is quite similar. So the rhythm of this bar would be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in like a swung rhythm or a tripleted rhythm, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So there's a very small difference there, but they're notated different ways.
So you normally see that in some swing music.
Yeah, you would see that in swing music sometimes. Yeah, you see it in all sorts of music. It's best to sort of address it when it comes along, when it arises. You know, next time we're in a rehearsal, Duncan, you see it, point it out to me, and I'll explain it fully. Okay, so moving on now to the scales. The 2 scales that I wanted you to work on were E flat major and A major. They are both scales with 3 accidentals and a key signature. So the first one was E flat major. It was to just write the scale in with no accidentals. So that will involve you getting the starting note and the ending note right. Yeah, just going all the way up there. So starting on an E flat, ending on an E flat, an octave above. Doesn't matter which octave you went to, I mean, that would be the most sensible octave to use, obviously. A major, 3 sharps in the key signature, just starting on an A and ending on an A. Well, the sharps do, the key signatures does all the work for you. Now, this one was the more challenging one, which is to write the scale with the accidentals and no key signature this time. So you need to know exactly which notes you need to sharpen or flatten in the scale. Now, E flat major, it has. If you'd have gone back to this one, you would have sort of found it a little bit easier to label the correct accidentals on the notes, because it tells you exactly which ones you need to make flat. So we've got E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. And that sounds like, you know, move this out of the way, or it sounds and looks rather like this. So that's your major scale sound there. And if I play it in the correct octave that it's written, it would sound like this. That's the E flat major scale. So starting on an E flat, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. And you can see we're left there with 3 flats in that scale, not counting the doubled one. A major. So going back to this one, we've got 3 sharps. We've got A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. And that sounds and looks like this. I know it's an octave lower than it's actually written. Okay, that's the unmistakable major scale sound there. So starting from the A, we've got the tone, and then we've got another tone. So it would be C sharp, tone, tone, semitone, tone, another tone, and a semitone. Yeah, and there it is on major scale. As you can see, we're left over with the 3 sharps: F sharp, C sharp, and F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. Okay, there they are. Congratulations to you if you got those correct. Don't worry if you didn't get them all correct, because there will be many more of these, and many more chances to practice these scales. Okay, there we are. That will be sent out to you at the end of the session along with the new worksheets. Right, now then, we're going to cover the circle of fifths today. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm just going to bring it up so you can have a look. Please don't be alarmed when you see this. It's not as complicated as it looks. Okay, there we are. Right, so this is the circle of fifths. I know it looks really, really scary when you first look at it. It looks like some sort of weird satanic symbolism or something, but it's not. It's a musical tool. And that is all it is. It is just a tool to help us understand key signatures and chord relationships and relationships between major and minor keys. That's the best way to describe it. Now, what we're going to do is we are only going to focus, well, I'll explain what you can see here first of all. If you look, we'll work our way from the outer circle all the way in, okay? So starting on the outer circle, what you'll see here is you've got all these pictures of key signatures around the outside. Now, some of them you'll recognise because G major key signature we've done, the D major key signature we've done, the A major key signature we've done, as we have done the F one and the B flat one and the E flat one. So we have covered so far in this course about halfway around the circle of fifths, as you can see there. Now, these are just, all these are key signatures, and they relate directly to everything here. I'm going to go into the next circle now. Okay, so the red lettered circle around the outside are all major keys. So what you, and it says there major, look. So if you look around the outside, all the red ones we'll go around clockwise. So we're going C, G major, D major, A major, E major, B major, F sharp and / G flat major. Remember, F sharp and G flat are the same note, yeah? They're called an enharmonic equivalent. Enharmonic equivalent. Yeah, they're the same note. D flat, A flat, E flat, B flat, F, and then we get back to C. What we have on the next circle in here, with these numbers, is the number of sharps or flats contained within that key. So let's go around to the right again. So G major has 1 sharp, and there is its key signature. It's 1 sharp, and that sharp is F sharp. Go around again. D major has 2 sharps, and those 2 sharps are F sharp and C sharp. Go around again to where we've gone up till now. A major has 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and so on. As you go around, E major, B major, F sharp major, and then our enharmonic equivalent kicks in, and we go over to the flats. You'll notice that all this side of the circle, you might have already noticed that all this side of the circle, apart from these ones, just ignore these ones for now. These are all sharp key signatures. And the ones on the left-hand side of the circle are all flat key signatures. So if we go from C and go around again, we're going anti-clockwise now. F major, 1 flat, which is B flat in the scale. B flat major, 2 flats, B flat and E flat, and so on. 3 flats for E flat, B flat, E flat, and A flat. So those are the 3 outer circles that we've covered there. Just going to touch on the inner circle now. So the inner circle, the green lettering in the lowercase, these are minor keys. Now you might remember me saying that there are 2 main tonalities that we use in these days. Since, I don't know, it was about 350 years, 350 to 400 years ago is when major and minor tonalities started to become prevalent over the other types of tonalities, which I'm not going to go into at the moment. We've got major and minor. So our major tonalities, our major scales are all on the outside of the circle, and our minor scales are all on the inside of the circle. There. Now, you'll see how these line up. So C is actually lined up with A minor, C major and A minor. They're aligned. We're going to go into more detail over this in the next session, but basically what they are is what we call relative minors. They are aligned. They are essentially the same scale, but starting on a different note. Thus, they have a different sound. They have a different tonal center and they have a different sound. For example, I'll play C major for you. That's the sound of C major. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. This is the sound of A minor, which is essentially the same scale. Yeah? And there's the tonal center of A minor. And here's the tonal center of C major. They share a lot of notes. They have a different tonal center. It's kind of like 2 sides of the same coin. And that goes on around G major and E minor are the same. D major and B minor are the same. A major and F sharp minor are the same. Also, another thing to be aware of is that like say for instance G major and E minor, these 2 here, they have the same key signature because they are essentially the same scale. They use the same notes. So for instance, one more, G major uses an F sharp. E minor uses an F sharp. Yeah, essentially the same scale. Now, the way the circle of fifths works, is everyone following me there, or does anyone want to ask any questions about that? Anyone got any? Any burning questions?
I think I'll revise the video and read up afterwards.
Yeah. Don't worry, we will be using this. I mean, this isn't the only session that we're going to be looking at the circle of fifths in, but like I've said before, if you're not quite understanding this, don't worry, because as you learn more, as you gather more information in different areas, this will start to make more sense.
So, Danny, does this apply to both the upper stave and the lower stave?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
It does, right? Okay.
Yeah, even though you've just got treble clefs there, yeah, you could replace that with either treble or bass clef, and it would still be the same. Yeah. So as you gather more information in other areas, this will start to make more sense. And remember, like I've said before, the thing with music theory is that you don't sort of gather a lot of information from one area and then that's that area boxed off, and then you go on to the next thing. You gather little bits from certain areas, and it all like just comes together and makes one, at first, what seems like a huge mess, and then it starts to make a little bit more sense, and you start putting things in order in your head. Okay. Now then, you might be thinking, why is it called the circle of fifths? The reason it's called the circle of fifths is because it's to do with the intervals between the keys. Now, if I go from C major, by the way, when we read the circle of fifths, you always start from the top, okay? So if I start from C, there, and I go to the right, or up, a fifth, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there. I land on G. So C and G are a fifth away from each other. Or if I go to G major now, and I go up a fifth in the key of G major, where do you think I'm going to land? I land on D. D major. So if I go to D now, and I go up a fifth in the key of D major, remember that's the key word. The key word is the key. In the key of, yeah, so using the scale of, in other words. In the scale of D major, I go up a fifth. I'll land on A. And all these intervals are all a fifth away from each other. Yeah? C, G, D, A, E, B, F sharp. And then we turn around and we come back. C down to F is a fifth. If you go the opposite way, you go down. Fifth down. Now we'll go down a fifth in the key of F major. We land on B flat. Now we'll go down a fifth in the key of B flat major. We land on E flat. And so on. And that is how it works. That is how the circle of fifths works. It's a very useful tool, like I said at the beginning, for understanding how keys are related. Because all musical keys are related to each other. That's why this sounds okay. So what I just did was I went C major, A minor, F major. What did I do then? D major, G major. Those are the keys that I just moved through. And if you look at those keys, they're all round in the same area as each other. You see? C major, A minor. So I went like this: C major, A minor, F, and then where did I go? Was it G major? I can't even remember what I did. I think I went to
D minor, was it?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember.
No.
So G major or D, I went to D, didn't I? So I went F major and then something else, and then I went to D, and then I went to G. But did you notice I didn't go C, A flat? You know, if you jump too far around, it's going to become it's going to sound very jaunty. Not going to sound wrong, just going to sound jaunting. For example, let's do, I don't know, I'll go C major, A flat, A. So there to there to there. Okay? it sounds quite, whoa, you know, that doesn't sound very stable, rather than, you know, something like that. That's a little bit more coherent to our ears, because all these keys here, you can see that they all share a lot of notes. We've got one flat in this key in F major, we've got one sharp in G major, so you can move between those two keys quite easily, really, and D major and B flat major. You know, you can go in and out of these keys quite easily because they're quite closely related to each other. Which I think, Liz, actually, Jesse, this is a question that you asked a couple of weeks ago, was how do keys relate to each other? Can you move between different keys? You know, do you have to stay in one key all the time? Well, the answer is no, you can move between these keys, provided that they are, you know, closely related. If you want the music to sound smooth and coherent, and you want to change key smoothly, rather than going something like, you know, and then, which is quite jarring. But you know, music is free. You can do whatever you like if you can make it sound good and it sounds good to you. There's no reason why you can't do it. But this is simply just a tool to help. I would recommend that you all print this off or save it in some description, because we will be referring to it a lot more when it comes to our scales and everything like that. So there we go. There is your introduction to the circle of fifths. Would anyone like to ask any questions about that before I move on to an introduction to minor scales, a proper introduction to minor scales? Okay, so minor scales. Like I said before, there are two different main types of tonality that we use: major and minor. A major scale is this. That's our C major scale. Let's pick another one, B flat. There's our B flat major scale. A major, D major. They all sound pretty similar, yeah. They're all major scales. It's all the same thing, really. Minor scales, however, there are, like I said, two sides to the same coin. They all sound very similar. I'll do A minor first, and then maybe G minor, D minor. These are all the minor scales. Now you can hear that they've got a distinctly different sound to major scales. So I'll play you two parallel major and minor scales. I'll play C major and then I'll play C minor, okay? Here's C major. And here's C minor. Okay, so you can definitely hear a massive difference there. That's a major sound. That's a minor sound. Music is a mixture of major and minor tonalities. That's what makes it sound interesting. If all music was in a major key and it only used major scales and major chords, it would become sickly, like eating the whole chocolate cake to yourself or something like that. You need a good balance between major and minor tonalities to make music sound, you know, interesting, basically. Let me have a look here, let's see what I've got. Okay, can you see there? This is the C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And I see why A is circled in a minute. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Okay. Now, the A minor scale, or the A natural minor scale in this case, goes like this: tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. If you want to find the relative minor to any major key, you go to the 6th scale degree, or the 6th note in the scale of the major scale, and that will be your relative minor starting note. So in this case, we've got C, D, E, F, G, A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A is the 6th note, so that means that A minor is the relative minor. So then, in order to play the relative minor, what we would do is just start on the A and play from A to A, using the same notes as we would in C major. Like that. That's how you find the minor scale, or the relative minor. Let's do another one.
Danny, is that?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I was just. Okay, you just moved the music so I could see. I was just going to say, when you say relative minor scale, it's back to your chart and it's C major, A minor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So relative minor scale meaning the minor scale that is directly related to the major scale, or the current major scale, whatever major scale you're working with. Yeah, let's do another one. So we'll do I don't know, F major. Okay, so let's go put this away for a minute. Scale of F major obviously starts on F, and it has one flat in it, and that flat is going to be, whoopsie daisy, is going to be B flat. So there's our F major scale, which we all know very well by now. Okay, so those are the notes of F major. Now then, if I want to find the relative minor to F major, I will go to the 6th degree in the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's D. Okay, so D minor is the relative minor to F major. If I want to play the relative minor scale, or find out what it is, I will just play the same notes that I have in the F major scale, which is all white notes with one black note, which is B flat. And there's my D minor scale. There it is. So F major, D minor. And that's how that works. You can do that with any key and it works the same way. Okay, that's how you find a a minor scale, and that's what a minor scale is. Now, if I just pull up this thing again, you'll see that the formula for a minor scale is different to the major scale, and I'm pretty sure actually, if you just start here at the major scale and follow the same, so tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. So it just starts off wherever it starts in the major scale, it just follow that same, it just goes round and round in circles. If you get stuck, you can use that, but this will all come out to you anyway, so you can study it. I've got something else here. Okay, so there are 3 different types of minor scale. 3 different types. These are the different types of minor scale. We've got harmonic, melodic, and natural. Then I'll work my way up from the bottom. The natural minor scale is the type of minor scale, or the form of minor scale, which comes directly from the major scale, meaning that it's organic, it has nothing changed, nothing added or taken away. It's as is in the key signature. So I'll use F major again as an example, okay? F major. Okay, F to F with a B flat in it. So relative minor scale to that, as we know, is D minor. I will play that exact scale, D to D. I won't change anything. I'll keep everything the same, including the B flat. There you go. That is our natural minor scale. 0% fat. The next one is the melodic minor scale. Now, the melodic minor scale is a little bit of an awkward one because it uses sharps on the way up. Can you see how these 2 notes have been sharpened? You're changing notes essentially to make them the scale sound different, and it plays the natural scale on the way down. So we've got okay. What the melodic minor scale does is it sharpens or raises the 6th and 7th degree of the scale, ascending, and it lowers them back down, descending, or just plays the natural minor scale descending. This is what it sounds like. I'll go to A minor for this one. So here's A. This is the A natural minor now. Yeah. It's the same, essentially the same scale as C major. Here is the A melodic minor scale. Yeah. Did you notice that the 6th and 7th degrees were raised on the way up and lowered back down to its natural form on the way down? Now this scale, is the clue is in the name. It's a melodic minor scale. It was used or invented by composers in the Baroque period, even earlier, because they didn't really like the sound of an ascending natural minor scale. They found it too jarring, and it just wasn't easy to work with. This is much easier to work with. It just sounds more melodic. We don't really use it that much in choral music per se, but it appears in a lot of classical music. So it's a raised 6th and 7th ascending and natural form descending. Now, the next one, the one that is most widely used, even more than the natural and the melodic minor scales, is the harmonic minor scale. And the harmonic minor scale, you will recognize the sound of it instantly. Here it is. That's the sound of a harmonic minor scale. What that sound is a raised 7th degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, raised to a G sharp in this case. It has that distinctive sort of minor third there. This is the one that's most widely used. The reason it's called a harmonic minor scale is because it serves a harmonic purpose. For instance, rather than, yeah. So we've got natural, melodic, and harmonic. Those are the 3 different types of minor scale. Okay, I think I've battered you with information there enough for now.
Danny,
yes?
when you actually writing music, and you're writing music in, say, the G sharp or the G major, sorry, you tend to put the signature at the beginning of the piece there, and then you know which notes should be raised or not.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that where you're talking about A minor forms, and you raise or lower the 6th and 7th note, that you have to write that in the stave itself. There isn't a starting signature that tells you that this is an A minor form.
No, yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, you will. Like I said, well, before when we were looking at these, you can see that C major. We know C major doesn't have a key signature because it's all the white notes on the piano, and neither does A minor, because the key signature assumes the natural form of the minor scale, and anything else is an additive, so to speak, or what we would call a chromatic alteration. So we would alter notes within the scale to make it sound a certain way, or to give it a certain feel, or a certain direction. These accidentals will appear as and when they need to be used. There is no specific key signature for the melodic minor scale or the harmonic minor scale. It just assumes the form of the natural minor scale all the time. And if you want to change anything, you just put it in and take it out. Because remember, music will move through a lot of different keys. You know, sometimes it will, what we call, modulate between major keys and minor keys, and it will move. Music will transition through different keys without the key signature having to change. So you can add sharps and flats in and take things away and add things in as you go, but without actually having to change the key signature. I don't know, it's like having jam in your porridge and honey in your porridge at the same time, I suppose, or something like that. I don't know, but you know, you're constantly putting things in and taking them away. Yeah, okay. So I will leave it there with that for today. Next week we will be looking at minor scales again, and relative majors and minors. That's what we're going to be doing. So I've kind of pulled some of next week's into this week, but we'll go over it again in some more detail, and I might even go into some more detail about other things as well. So we're kind of a week ahead of ourselves, really. Okay, the worksheet for this week, is this the one? I hope so. Where is it? Okay, week 7. Is it that one? Is that the answers? No. Okay, this is basically just some scale practice for you. The minor scale stuff will come next week, but this is just some scale practice for you. All you need to do here is just write in the relevant major scales, but using the accidentals only. So this is testing whether you know your key signatures. So you've got C major, G major, F major, B flat major, and D major. So you've got 0 sharps and flats up to 2 sharps and flats there. So you should, if you can, try to work it out in your head. Try to work it out in your head. If you can't work it out in your head, or you're really struggling, then by all means use some of the resources. But really challenge yourself this week and try and see if you can just visualize. Maybe visualize a keyboard in your head, or use a keyboard. Just look at the keyboard, because knowing music theory, being able to recall information is very useful in music theory off the top of your head. To be able to figure things out, to be able to look at a piece of music and know what you're looking at. It's very, very important to be able to recall things from memory. So it's important that that is practiced. So there we are, and we'll have the answers to that next week.
Danny, can I just ask a little thing with your method for finding the relative minor?
Yeah.
Is there anything wrong in the way I mean, I usually do it slightly different, but all I do is drop 3 semitones from the major.
Yeah, that's another way to do it.
That works for everything, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Does
that works
work
for everything.
everywhere?
Yeah, that works for everything as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll cover that now. Actually, thanks for doing that, Nova. Yeah,
no, it's okay.
There is another way of doing it as well. Finding the relative minor. You don't have to go up to the 6th degree. That's just my preferred method. There is another method as well, which is you can drop down 3 semitones. So if I start on C like this, and I go 1, 2, 3, I will land on A, and that is the relative minor. That's another easy way to find the relative minor. Yeah, and that works with everything. So if I go to F, and I drop 3 semitones, remember this one would not count as 1. This counts as 0. So 1, 2, 3. I land on D minor. Let's pick another random one. A flat. So 1, 2, 3. F minor. Okay, there we are. Thanks for that, Nova.